Masquerade!
Hello honeys! The story of Masquerade is the central mystery of the first season of Aikatsu, which I've solved by analyzing all kinds of hidden lore. This is a thorough deep dive containing spoilers for the entire original series. If that's okay with you, let's get started. The first thing we should establish is that the origins of Masquerade, and Starlight Academy for that matter, are largely vibes-based. For example, in the anime Aikatsu movie edition, series director Ryuichi Kimura explains that he sees Masquerade as the equivalent of Pink Lady, the image of an idol who caused a social phenomenon. Pink Lady was a real 70s J-pop duo. They were childhood friends from music school who passed a TV idol audition, took on the stage names Mi and Kei, starred in a movie, achieved international fame, and then disbanded after only a few years of activity. And so we have Hoshimiya Ringo, the mother of main character Ichigo in the original Aikatsu anime. Ringo's first dream as a child is to run her own bento shop, but she quickly gets swept up in the glamour of the idol industry. It starts when she's very young, playing pretend with friends on a big concrete stage at her local park. Those games turn into a genuine passion for performing. Ringo enjoys her music classes at her elementary school, and as she starts middle school, her friends encourage her to take a real idol audition. Ringo loves the idea of making people happy through her performances, so she decides to try it. She attends the audition for a TV show called Idol Birth, a talent scouting program, and meets her future partner, Mitsuishi Orihime. Orihime's story was a lot different. My personal theory is that she's based on the real Mitsubishi heiress Sawada Miki, who founded an orphanage and school in post-war Japan. Because Orihime is the heiress of the Mitsuishi Group, daughter of its founder Mitsuishi Yotaro, which sounds just like the real Mitsubishi founder Iwasaki Yataro, but I digress. Orihime is planned to inherit her father's company, so she starts studying business management and political science as a young child. She's also taught Japanese dance, probably alongside other disciplines meant to make her a diligent, well-rounded successor. Contrary to her family's plans though, it's dance that Orihime ends up most drawn to. Orihime's Japanese dance teacher is also a teacher at Psycho Music School, which is a real place. She becomes so passionate about dance that she decides to transfer to her teacher's school for middle school, and later says in an interview, "I told my parents the truth, and I submitted my transfer application that very same day. That was the first time I'd ever been selfish with my parents." Within 6 months of transferring and studying music full-time, Orihime becomes the top student in her class. Her talent in singing and dancing both become clear to everyone around her, but her path to debut as a real artist is blocked by her father. Yotaro pressures the school to discourage Orihime's dream of entering the entertainment industry and pushes her toward a formal education instead. It's at this time that Orihime gains her fiery rebellious streak. Her fellow students insist that she has to make her debut as an idol to capitalize on her talent, and Orihime decides to listen to them. In order to avoid her father's influence, she comes up with a stage name and a simple disguise, a mask she'll wear to a TV talent audition. At the audition, Orihime gets her first taste of freedom. The judges do seem surprised by her mask, but it's a welcome challenge. Orihime has never been evaluated purely based on her own abilities before, and when she passes, it's the first time that she can be sure that her success is all her own. Orihime meets Ringo at this audition, and the two of them quickly become friends. So when Ringo also passes, Orihime makes another spontaneous decision. She invites Ringo to join her as a unit partner. At the same audition, Orihime also meets a character we never see, the music producer Kato Yozo, who is most likely a reference to Aikatsu's head of series composition, Kato Yoichi. Orihime had planned to give up if she failed this audition, but thanks to her mask, she catches Kato's attention. He agrees to work with Orihime on Idol debut, and spends 3 months helping her persuade her father to let her debut. In the end, her father finally agrees on the condition that she returns to business management one day. During those 3 months, Ringo and Orihime take on the stage names Mia and Hime and begin training together. It's around this time that Johnny would have entered the picture as their coach and choreographer. And from there, the fuzziest detail of all is that the two of them probably transferred to Starlight Academy. We never see them as Starlight students, and they never talk about being Starlight students, so let me explain why I think that's what happened. First, director Kimura has confirmed in the anime Aikatsu edition that Starlight Academy is a traditional school and is probably getting old. That's in reference to the leaky roof in season 3, but it's good enough basis to assume that the school was not founded by Orihime herself. which makes sense, since Starlight's Hall of Alumni statues includes idols from every era of the industry, from even before Masquerade. To back that up further, in the same magazine, director Kimura says that they wanted to create an atmosphere similar to the Takarazuka Music School when depicting Starlight. All you need to know there is that Takarazuka Music School has a lot in common with Aikatsu's fictional school. It's a secretive, private girls' school that's over 100 years old. It accepts around 40 out of 1,000 applicants each year, is famous for being extremely strict, has a student ranking system, and has a dedicated fanbase since it produces many famous actresses. Starlight Academy is implied to be around the same age as Takarazuka, and while it may not have been a top idol school yet, it would have provided Hime and Mia with the connections needed for an explosive debut. Once they're finally able to form Masquerade, one of their first jobs is to star in the TV drama Stylish Thieves Swallowtail, which also complicates our timeline since they look so much older in that drama, but that's best explained as a retconning issue. The drama becomes popular and so does Masquerade, so by the time they release their song, Wake Up My Music, it becomes an instant hit. The two girls quickly become household names across Japan, true top idols. We know that they win the Partners Cup, a Starlight Academy unit competition, amongst many other awards. And it's not unreasonable to assume that Ringo even manages to become Starlight Queen based on her possession of the Starlight Tiara. It's more likely that the Starlight Tiara started off as a completely unrelated piece of idol memorabilia, only to later be turned into a Starlight Queen trophy for Sakura and Akari, but if we're connecting the dots, we might as well make that connection too. It would be kind of crazy for the writers to never mention Ringo being Starlight Queen if that was their original intention though. She could have been Starlight Queen, or she could have gotten it from somewhere else. Regardless, Masquerade becomes extremely busy with work. The real unit, Pink Lady, was said to sleep an average of 45 minutes per day, and we can see that legacy in the way that Orihime talks about her time as an idol. No matter how busy I was or how tough the going went, I burned with the flames of passion. For Orihime, her desire to prove her family wrong gives her plenty of motivation to power through hardship. All she needs is breakfast with Mia at her favorite cafe to perk right back up. But for Ringo, the hectic schedules and increasing isolation of top idolhood seemed like a much heavier burden. She'd intended to spend her days staying with her friend, just like she'd done when she was growing up. She's accomplished her goal of bringing smiles to the people who see their concerts, but it doesn't feel quite as rewarding as she thought it would. She'd much rather be getting to know all of their fans individually instead. Ringo begins seeking advice from Amahane Asuka, the designer of a famous fashion brand who works closely with idols. Asuka helps Ringo learn a lot about the industry, and Ringo gains a deep appreciation for it, despite its trials. She learns to love the feeling of scaling cliff after cliff using nothing but her own strength, becoming a top idol through sheer force of will. But it's still not enough to stop her from questioning whether she's truly happy on her new path. When the negative feelings get to her, Ringo returns to her childhood stage to sing alone, maybe to remind herself of why she'd found it so fun in the first place. It's still somewhere around the first couple years of her career when she meets Taichi, her future husband, listening to her in the snow. There aren't many details in the anime, but considering that one of Pink Lady's most famous scandals was a dating scandal, it's not unlikely that Ringo and Taichi begin dating at this time. Masquerade had started with the chance meeting of two middle school girls, and after several years of success, their time together comes to an end once they both reach adulthood. Orihime receives an offer to become the head mistress of Starlight Academy, and the two friends have many discussions about their future. In the end, Orihime accepts the offer, and Ringo takes the opportunity to step back from the entertainment industry. In a twist of fate, Orihime is finally able to reveal her true identity at Masquerade's farewell concert. She's returning to business management, just like her father had asked, but it's on her own terms as the new leader of the idol industry. And for Ringo, her anonymity allows her to resume a normal life with Taichi, who she marries. She's able to open the bento shop she'd once dreamed of, and has her first child within a few years of Masquerade's disbandment. Masquerade's disbandment is also an important event for Johnny, their choreographer. He's not implied to be too much older than them, likely only an older teenager at the time of their debut. Despite his young age, we know that Johnny was already a top-class dancer and coach by then. Maybe because the death of his father forced him to seek out ways to provide for his younger sister. Johnny's family is full of women who look uncannily similar to Orihime, so it may have been a sense of familiarity that drove him to dedicate himself to Masquerade. But when Masquerade disbands, he's forced to find a new job with a dance partner of his own, Sunny. It's unclear when the two of them met, since Sunny was the one to give Johnny his stage name. Either they started out together and then reunited, or Johnny got his name later in life. Whether it was their first or second meeting, Johnny and Sunny start up a new dance training program together. Starlight Academy's future chef, Yotsuba, trains under them during his idol career, and a 5-year-old Kurosawa Rin follows them for the next 8 years. Sadly, their partnership also comes to an end when Sunny quits dancing to become a fashion designer, and the two of them also part ways. Johnny promises to raise idols worthy of Sunny's dance-focused designs and joins Orihime as a teacher at Starlight Academy. Within a few more years, child star Kanzaki Mizuki will track him down and make him her new coach, the official beginning of the idol industry's next generation. Orihime's decision to leave Masquerade and become Starlight's headmistress hadn't been made lightly. "I made a promise to Mia back then," she later says, "that I would do everything in my power to turn Starlight Academy into a top-class idol school." In the Animage Aikatsu movie edition, director Kimura explains, "Orihime is always looking for new possibilities and holds transfer exams several times a year." Despite this aggressive approach to recruitment, Orihime stands firm on maintaining Starlight Academy's high standards. When she's visited by an old friend who questions her extremely low acceptance rate, she has no problem defending the policy. "This is a place for those with the talent to become idols to spread their wings. That's Starlight Academy's purpose. We have the responsibility to look after their dreams. If we were to abandon a student for lack of ability after we admitted them, that would be the height of irresponsibility." With the potential of her students virtually guaranteed by the strict admission criteria, Orihime makes a point of putting her full trust in each of them. No matter what direction her idols' paths take them, Orihime commits to supporting them. One of the core principles of Starlight Academy is self-production, she tells her students. Only you can decide what kind of idol to be. In order to further support their growth, Orihime does everything in her power to cultivate discipline, independence, and healthy competition among Starlight idols. She makes sure to hold all sorts of tournaments throughout the year, and personally selects a top student in each class. Most importantly, she ramps up the importance of the Starlight Queen Cup, turning a school competition into a national spectacle. Thanks to these efforts, Starlight Academy becomes Japan's #1 idol school over the next 10 years or so. Just in time for Orihime to cross paths with none other than Ringo's 12-year-old daughter, Hoshime Ichigo, at a transfer exam in the fall. Although it would seem like Ichigo was following in her mother's footsteps, Ringo had made the important decision to keep her idol history a secret from both Ichigo and her younger son Raichi. It's a secret from the rest of the world too, but it's extra important to her that her children experience a normal childhood. If they knew about her past, they might miss out on their own dreams by chasing after her accomplishments in Masquerade. Thanks to Starlight Academy's rise to fame though, her children end up as idol fans anyway. They still live in the same city as the school, so maybe it was inevitable that they'd fall under its spell. Ringo is happy to support them though, if idols are their genuine interest. And when Ichigo's best friend starts encouraging her to apply for Starlight, Ringo gives her the push she needs to go for it. After years of distance from the industry, she's excited to see how Ichigo will do on a real stage. Orihime is sure about Ichigo from the moment she watches her audition. She's just as dazzling as Ringo once was, and Orihime's mind begins to whirl with all the possibilities ahead of her. Chief among them is a potential partnership with the current top idol Kanzaki Mizuki. Mizuki is a prodigy who's desperate to find a partner and live up to Masquerade's legacy. But meeting Mizuki's needs has been a challenge. No one so far has possessed the raw potential needed to keep up with her. Ichigo's admission to the school is an easy decision for Orihime, and so is that of Ichigo's best friend Aoi. They're both exactly the kind of hard-working, charming students that Starlight Academy was built for, and Orihime wastes no time in showing them to Mizuki. Within the first 3 months of Ichigo's time at Starlight, the Aikatsu official guidebook reveals that Ringo would secretly ask Orihime about Ichigo's condition. That explains why we see Orihime calling Ringo about her daughter after the Christmas party in Ichigo's first year. They don't seem to speak often at this point, not anymore at least, but Ichigo has shown so much growth that Orihime is eager to keep Ringo informed about her. After Ichigo accumulates a long list of accomplishments in a relatively short period of time, Orihime is certain that Ichigo can catch up to Mizuki. Convincing Mizuki of that hunch will be a more difficult task, but Orihime is sure that the threat of a real competitor will be enough to push Mizuki forward as well. She tells Ringo that she'll be pairing the two of them up after the new year, and starts planning her own reunion with her old partner. It's not outright stated that Orihime and Ringo start becoming closer after this point, but Ringo receives Hawaiian chocolate as a souvenir from a friend soon after Orihime is implied to have gone on a business trip to Hawaii. And they finally see each other in person again at the Mizuki concert that Orihime assigns Ichigo to perform in. This concert turns into a concern for both Masquerade members. Orihime had noticed the tension between Mizuki and Ichigo leading up to it, but with Ichigo's resilience, Orihime was mostly concerned about Mizuki. Concerns that Ringo begins to share after watching her daughter nearly faint on stage, followed by Mizuki's unprecedented display of athletic ability. While Ringo keeps a close eye on Ichigo's progress through all of her concerts and TV appearances, Orihime takes an active role in cultivating the skills of Ichigo's growing number of friends. By the time spring arrives, she's already gotten them an audition for a film reboot of Masquerade's old stylish Leaf Swallowtail drama. And now, with the announcement of a new competition, Orihime is eager to see if Mizuki will finally accept Ichigo as a partner. It doesn't end up happening, but Orihime is happy to see the possibility motivate Mizuki anyway. And she finds herself inspired to create a new competition, the Nostalgic Melody Live Audition. Mostly driven by her nostalgia for Ringo, Orihime challenges her students to form pairs and cover her old song, Wake Up My Music. And she schedules it on Mother's Day, just to make it an extra special show for her former partner. That Mother's Day, the nostalgic gesture successfully reaches Ringo. She has fun getting attention from her kids, but when she hears which song Ichigo is struggling to learn, she decides to relive some of her old memories. She takes Ichigo to the same old park stage that they both played at as children, and the two of them reminisce. After she helps Ichigo practice the song, Ringo decides to give her an important memento, the starlight tiara she'd worn as an idol. Ichigo goes on to use it in her performance, and the tiara is instantly recognized by both Orihime and Ringo's old mentor, Asuka. Watching in the audience, Ringo is proud to see Ichigo following perfectly in her footsteps, all on her own. Ichigo wins the competition alongside her partner Aoi, and Ringo congratulates her on her hard work. While she gives her daughter a well-deserved hug, Orihime catches her eye from a distance, and Ringo is relieved when her old partner smiles at her, not jeopardizing her secret, but silently approving of her, welcoming her back to the idol world in her new role as a mother. Soon after this, Orihime's vision of Ichigo as Mizuki's potential partner is disrupted by Mizuki's request for a 3-person unit. Mizuki had originally wanted to perform as a duo, just like Masquerade, so the change in her mindset interests Orihime. If it's what Mizuki wants, it's surely worth exploring. Orihime helps her set up a massive audition to start promoting the unit in advance, and is pleased by the number of job offers that immediately start rolling in. Before the unit's members have even been decided, they're booked up for years in advance. Orihime supervises the audition and does her best to get a read on who Mizuki might be looking to recruit. But the massive event, broadcast live on TV, ends without a single member being accepted. It's concerning to Orihime, but she still has faith in Mizuki as her student. She agrees to let Mizuki host a second round, but Mizuki only picks one member, not 2. And when Mizuki asks for a third round, Orihime is forced to intervene. Thanks to her indecision, Mizuki's unit, TriStar, is already at risk of breaking its very first work agreements. There is too much pressure on the group to allow the lineup to be delayed any longer, so Orihime seriously informs Mizuki that she must choose the final member in the final audition round that she's requested. The drawn-out media coverage has been good for the group, so Orihime mostly finds herself intrigued by Mizuki's unusual hesitation. The finalists Mizuki has chosen are Ichigo and her 2 closest friends, Aoi and Ran. The member she's chosen so far is a new transfer student, Ichinose Kaide, who Orihime immediately sends to begin fulfilling the group's promotional obligations. And when Mizuki finally gets her final audition round, she makes it an interview. It's puzzling to Orihime, but she can't help but find it all very exciting. Not even Mizuki's manager can tell what she'll do next. Mizuki finally chooses Ran, and the TriStar members head out to begin working right away. The extended audition process has generated a lot of media attention, so Orihime decides to capitalize on the remaining attention surrounding Ichigo and Aoi. She announces their unit debut before she's even asked them if they're interested, and kicks off a series of surprise promotional projects for TriStar, all in the name of feeding the media frenzy around her students. Even more excitingly, Ran ends up leaving TriStar to join Ichigo and Aoi's new unit, Soleil. But as much as Orihime enjoys seeing the 3 friends reunite in a dramatic announcement at their debut concert, it does make her feel concerned about Mizuki. TriStar is forced into a brief hiatus, and Orihime intends to intervene again when she meets with Mizuki back at school. At first, Orihime worries that Mizuki may be losing her self-confidence after TriStar's extended recruitment process. Mizuki had struggled with choosing her members in the first place, so it'd be understandable if losing one caused her to doubt her own judgment. But Mizuki seems to recover quickly, so Orihime gives her trust rather than any more advice. By the end of the day, Mizuki has chosen a new member, and the reformed TriStar heads out again. Along with TriStar's recovery, Ichigo is selected as Solei's leader, and another independent unit, Rin, pops up amongst her friend group. All of the activity is so exciting that Orihime can't even wait for the groups to settle before she starts planning a new, massive project for them. She'll take all 3 units and send them on one big tour together, one which she will personally oversee. The combined group is named Star Anise, and Orihime spends the summer watching all 8 members grow stronger bonds than ever, Mizuki included. The tour is successful, the Star Anise members climb to the top of the school student ranking system, and the true test is finally in front of them, the Starlight Queen Cup. As luck would have it, all 8 members fill up the tournament's 8 top student slots, so friends will have to become rivals to earn the school's prestigious top student title. As the current Starlight Queen, Mizuki is scheduled to perform a kickoff concert for the competition. Orihime has become extremely proud of Mizuki, and she's excited to brief her on the importance of her role to Starlight Academy and Masquerade's legacy. After all, Mizuki is a massive fan of her old unit. The two of them enjoy reminiscing for a bit before Orihime notices that something is off. Mizuki had hidden it well, but when she stands up to lead the meeting, she's clearly feeling sick. Concerned, Orihime reminds her not to push her limits too hard, but Mizuki refuses to listen. She wants to push through. Normally, Orihime is happy to let a student push their own boundaries and find their own limits. It's part of growing up. But as Orihime reflects on Mizuki's history and the fact that her concert is the next day, she begins to doubt that Mizuki understands the importance of her own health. Orihime had watched Mizuki transform from a passionate fan into a relentless top idol. She knows that Mizuki's priorities are to honor Masquerade first, achieve perfection second, and take care of herself third. If she's worried about Mizuki's health, there's no easy way to convince her to take a break. She just risks scaring her student into taking greater measures to hide how tired she is. It's not the kind of situation Orihime would ever create willingly, but she decides to call Ringo for help. Mizuki had asked about Ringo, Mia, that day, and clearly saw her as a role model despite never seeing her in person. Somewhere over the past 2 years, Orihime had missed an opportunity to intervene in Mizuki's bad habits. If anyone could help break them now, it was probably Ringo, either as an idol superstar or as a source of motherly advice. Orihime lets Mizuki prepare for the concert the next day. She lets her get all the way to the dressing room, but secretly she prepares an intervention. Orihime expects Mizuki to get hurt, and when it happens, she'll have a doctor on standby. If necessary, she and Ringo will then take over the performance. Any potential scandal will be swept away by the surprise return of Masquerade. Luckily, Mizuki collapses backstage before she can even set foot in front of the audience, and Orihime rushes in with Ringo, both wearing their Masquerade masks. "Leave the rest to us," Orihime reassures her, and Ringo gives her an honest compliment. "I've always been watching your wonderful expressions from afar." Orihime apologizes to Ringo for the mistakes she's made as they prepare to go on stage, but Ringo has no judgment for her. She's well aware of Ichigo's admiration for Mizuki, and has watched the two of them grow from a distance over the past year. If performing with Orihime is a way for her to help both Mizuki and her old partner, she's happy to do it. Orihime is touched by Mia's compassion, and gets emotional as they prepare to dance together for the first time in over a decade. It's an incredibly sentimental performance for both of them. Afterwards, Orihime thanks Ringo for her help, and encourages her to reveal her identity to Ichigo. Ringo can't help but agree, and when Orihime sends Ichigo in to talk to Mia, she is summoned for an update on Mizuki. Ringo reveals her identity to Ichigo, along with Aoi and Ran, playfully and with a lot of patience. She lets Ichigo connect the dots at her own pace, and is happy that she doesn't seem upset about the secret. As she prepares to head home, she gets a call from Asuka, and the two of them make an appointment to catch up. The concert had been televised, so once she and Ichigo get back, it turns out that Raichi has also discovered Ringo's identity. Luckily, Raichi isn't upset about the secret either, and Ringo is happy to tell her kids the full story of how she became an idol in the first place. She's a little worried that Ichigo will have complicated feelings about the whole situation, but when she talks with her one-on-one again, Ichigo understands her perfectly. She's found so many of her own reasons to love being an idol that Ringo's influence is just one of many she's grateful for. Since the reveal has gone so well, Ringo invites Ichigo to visit Asuka with her the next day. Asuka has been working with Ichigo too, and the mother-daughter duo now find even more in common with each other. Ringo is able to thank Asuka for all of her support over the years, as well as pass on the valuable lesson of prioritizing happiness. To top it all off, Asuka reveals the dress that she's designed to match the Starlight Tiara, a symbol of their shared legacy. That evening, Ringo and Orihime have already agreed to perform in one more concert, a final farewell demanded by the fans who had been shocked by their surprise appearance. They both know better than to expect anything else of their reunion. Even this extra performance feels like an indulgence in their nostalgia. So they enjoy the stage and prepare to part ways again, only to be stopped by Mizuki backstage. Orihime had overseen Mizuki's treatment after her concert, approving the doctor's recommendation to put her on bed rest with an IV to help her recover. Now Mizuki apologizes for troubling her heroes. Ringo is more concerned about her and tries to take the opportunity to reveal her identity to Mizuki as well, to thank her for being such a strong inspiration for Ichigo. But Mizuki has already figured out the connection herself, so instead Ringo thanks her directly. It's because of you that Ichigo can shine as brightly as she does, Ringo praises, and Mizuki looks overjoyed when she humbly responds, "I was simply the spark that set her aflame." With the drama of reunion out of the way, Orihime returns her attention to the Starlight Queen Cup, only for a new drama to appear on the horizon. Right after she becomes the finalist set to face Mizuki in the school's grandest competition, Ichigo announces her intention to leave Starlight Academy and study in America. It's a shock to the entire idol industry, but both Orihime and Ringo are happy to see her off on her new journey. By the end of the Starlight Queen Cup, Orihime feels satisfied that Ichigo has caught up to Mizuki, even though she doesn't actually manage to win against her in the end. By that evening, Orihime is informed that Mizuki will also be leaving Starlight Academy, leaving both TriStar and Soleil, the school's top acts, in limbo. As its two top students disappear from the public eye, Starlight Academy suddenly faces a PR crisis. Over the next 6 months, student morale gets lower and lower with the sudden loss of media attention previously brought in by Mizuki and Ichigo. Adding insult to injury is the opening of a brand new rival idol school called Dream Academy. Orihime does her best to use the inevitable comparison to Starlight's benefit, spinning up a formal rivalry to reclaim as much attention for her students as possible. Positive spin aside, the situation is dire enough that Orihime becomes stressed about a face-off concert she plans with Dream Academy. Orihime had disbanded Masquerade to dedicate herself to Starlight. If she let all of her hard work slip now and Dream Academy took over the public's attention, it may not be a reversible trend. And if that happens, then she's determined to take responsibility and resign as headmistress. At least that would direct some eyes back toward all of her students. Orihime had assigned Aoi as Starlight's representative in the face-off concert, so when Starlight's turn arrives, she's surprised to see Ichigo take the stage instead. Orihime had always maintained some hope that Ichigo would return, so it's a welcome surprise. But she does make sure to check on Aoi, and apologize when it turns out that Aoi had overheard and felt pressure by her plans to resign if Starlight lost. Luckily, Ichigo's return marks the end of Orihime's concerns about the Dream Academy rivalry. Ichigo and her friends are happy to work collaboratively with their rival students, so there are plenty of opportunities for the two schools to mutually benefit from all the comparisons being made between them. Even better, Orihime gets more time to talk with Dream Academy's headmistress, Tiara, who is also an old friend of hers. Within a few months, Orihime is comfortable enough with the state of the industry that she agrees to revive Starlight's Partners Cup tournament specifically to encourage students from both schools to work together. It's at that key moment that Mizuki finally returns, this time in a duo unit of her own, Double M. Orihime takes this debut extremely seriously and attends their concert in person to evaluate the new threat. Sure enough, Mizuki has found a partner capable of overtaking Masquerade's legendary popularity. When she considers the competition between Double M and the two idol schools, Orihime begins to settle on Ichigo and Dream Academy star student Seira as Double M's most likely rivals. As a way to measure their growing popularity, Orihime plans the Aikatsu 8 tour with Tiara. For one summer only, a temporary 8-member unit will be elected by the public and perform across Japan together. In the meantime, Orihime observes Mizuki's prodding attempts to make a rival out of Ichigo. The first attempt is a challenge concert between Double M and Soleil. Mizuki's plans are exciting enough that Orihime calls Ringo to talk about the development. and they agree that Double M is on the right path to reaching Masquerade's popularity. Orihime even gets the chance to speak with Mizuki backstage and has nothing but encouragement for her. Her old student's ambition burns as brightly as Orihime's had back in her Masquerade days. Double M wins the challenge concert, and soon enough it's time to reveal the Aikatsu 8 lineup. Both Mizuki and her partner Mikuru make it into the group, confirming how popular they already are, along with Ichigo and Seira. It's the perfect setup for a summer of seeding new possibilities, and at the end of the tour, Mizuki's ambition bears fruit. The Double M members formally challenge both schools to a massive competition, the Twinkle Star Cup. Accepting the challenge is the obvious choice for both Orihime and Tiara. They're allowed to send any representatives they like, but Orihime already suspects who Mizuki is intending to compete against. Still, she gives the choice to Ichigo's friend Aoi to see if the next generation agrees with her judgment, which Aoi clearly does when Ichigo ends up as Starlight's representative. Dream Academy selects Seira, of course, and the competition lineup is sealed. Both schools quickly get to work promoting the Twinkle Star Cup. Mizuki has planned for it to be an enormous national spectacle to reach higher than even Masquerade had achieved. Unfortunately, in another twist of fate, it also becomes their final stage. Double M will disband after the competition. Neither Orihime nor Ringo are surprised by the news. Diverging paths seem to be the natural outcome for every idol following their dreams. When the Twinkle Star Cup finally arrives, Ringo is too excited to keep her distance from Orihime. Double M's performance moves her, reminding her of her own final performance long ago, and she goes to find Orihime in the crowd, to tell her that it looks like they've been surpassed. Orihime agrees with her. The two of them leave their friends and family in their seats to watch Ichigo and Seira alone, savoring the anticipation of waiting to see which unit will win. And when the idol they both helped to raise claims her victory, they both have a reason to feel proud. After the trophy is awarded, the competitors give their speeches and the event draws to a close. The Masquerade members watch the stadium gradually empty out, a stadium bigger than either of them had ever had the chance to perform in. Eventually, they're found by Mizuki. They'd noticed the tinge of finality in her closing speech, but they don't comment on it. She's there to thank them, and they're equally as proud of her for everything she's accomplished. Orihime is aware of Mizuki's struggles over the next few months, but it's no longer her role to guide her. Her attention turns to the next generation. Ringo's attention returns to her bento shop and her family. They start spending more time together casually, as friends, and they enjoy watching year after year of students grow up. Even though their story together has ended, they still find plenty to celebrate in the years ahead of them. Thank you so much for watching. I've been eager to piece together the Masquerade story for years now, and I'm so happy to have finally done it. Let me know your thoughts about Masquerade in the comments below, and keep an eye out for more video updates in my community tab. Bye bye!
Forever! Aikatsu!